Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, double honors to the apostles of Grey Millstone that rule well, and salutations and blessings to the elect, pushing the truth of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And this lesson is called the Phenotype Issue. Alright, it's called the Phenotype Issue. Basically going into a lot of, really the majority of the world, obviously, they look on the appearance and skin color and basically the outward look of someone. That's how they judge someone, and that's actually a lie and a deceit pushed by the so-called white man, pertaining to the so-called unconscious community, polite, sonnet, or all these fools out there. When you guys really push that, how people look, you're really actually furthering the doctrine of the white man. All right, that's not an ideology, whatever you want to call it, philosophy, a standard, a doctrine that was present 700 years ago, 800 years ago. That came about during the Renaissance. All right, so I'm going to break down the word phenotype. All right, this is from Adam Online. And phenotype is observable characteristics of an individual, 1911, from German phenotypist Wilhelm Johansen. Alright, see phenotype. So we're gonna go into pheno breakdown, because I found some interesting about the breakdown of it, which I didn't know earlier. I knew that pheno meant basically outward appearance or outward look or appearance, basically, and typos. But when I further went into pheno, it actually made more sense. It says, before vowels, fen, word forming element in science, meaning pertaining to or derived from benzene. Alright, from phene, which we're going to click. Phene as an element in names of chemicals derived from benzene, from French phene. Proposed 1836 by French scientist Auguste Laurent as an alternative name for benzene because it has been found in coal tar, a byproduct of the manufacture of illuminating gas, from Greek phenine, to bring to light, right? That's where you get the word phantasm from, which phantasm or fantasy, right? Early 13th century, phantasme, from Old French phantasme, a dream, illusion, a fantasy, apparition, ghost, phantom. So how you can look at that is, or how the spirit made me, find it out or bring it out to you brothers, is basically a lot of times when you look at people today, you're just looking at an illusion, a fantasy. All right. It's an illusion because you got like Blake Griffin. Look at his son. His son is really a Levite, a Haitian. Alright, from his father's lineage. His grandfather is Haitian, his father is Haitian, really. But you can say, or people today say, he's Irish and half white and all this stuff. But he's actually a Levite. He's actually from tribe of Levi. Now, can he outright say, I'm black? He can't even say he's black because he can't even really tell he's black. His son. That's and that's the illusion. You look at people and say, he's white, he's black. At the end of the day, it could be the exact opposite. So that was just a little on that. So we're gonna go to Sirach chapter 11, start at verse 1. It says, wisdom lifteth up the hand or the head of him that is of low degree, and maketh him to sit among great men. Verse 2, commend not a man for his beauty, neither abhor a man for his outward appearance. And that's what these guys in the black unconscious community do, polite and all. If you're half white, or if you're a mixed breed, or he said if your mother's white, I don't trust you. All right. Well, what if someone comes up to you, never reveals to you their father, and his mother's black, and he comes out looking dark as hell, are you gonna trust him? Because he's fully melanated. He's got melanin. right? You guys are complete fucking clowns, man. You know, and this is going for even guys in the Israelite world, talking about certain brothers and, you know, in GMS, you know, or even talking about other Taharis bringing in Edomites. You guys are totally bugged out, man. You don't know anything about nothing. You know, you don't know, or you don't know nothing about anything. I should say it like that. But you guys are totally bugged out, and you guys are trying to weigh down brothers' spirits. You know, if they're the elect, man, you can't do shit at the end of the day. You know, you're not gonna weigh down nobody's spirit. You know, all you're gonna be, the most you're gonna be is maybe a thorn in someone's side. You know, but you know, a brother is pushing the truth and, you know, just doing the work. You know, you're not gonna affect anything, man. So that's why it says, abhor not a man for his outward appearance. Abhor is like disgust. You know, oh yeah, look at him. He looks like a cracker. He looks like an Edomite. You know, and you abhor, and then you commend the man. Oh, he's melanated. You know, but at the end of the day, his grandfather could be an Edomite, man. You know, like Lenny Kravitz, he's an Edomite. He's a Khazar. He's a so-called Jew. You know, I don't care how woolly his hair is and how dark he is. He's a fucking Khazar. He's an Amalekite, man. All right, so is his fucking daughter. Well, she can walk around and I'm black and I can say nigga and all this shit, right? But she's really a fucking Edomite, man. All right. It says, verse 3: the bee is little among such as fly, but her fruit is the chief of sweet things. Boast not of thy clothing and raiment, and exalt not thyself in the day of honor. For the works of the Lord are wonderful, and his works are among men are hidden. His works among men are hidden, man. You know, he can work through a man that you think is a heathen, you know, but he's working through that man, and it's hidden. And everyone's, oh no, Mosai's not dealing with that guy, he's a heathen. You know, no, but the Mosai's working through him. You know, and really that's a stumbling block when people say, yeah, he's a heathen and all this crap. That's a stumbling block, man. You know. Verse 5: many kings have sat down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of has worn the crown. Many mighty men have been greatly disgraced, and the honorable delivered into other men's hands. Like King David. Remember, King David, he was the oldest brother, I believe, of 7. You know, if my memory serves me right. But who was it? I believe it was Samuel. Samuel went down to find the king of Israel, and then he went through all the brothers, and you know, saw the first brother, tall, big, you know, muscular, and you know, bold looking. He said, yeah, that's the king of Israel. And Moses told him, don't judge upon his appearance, man. And then he went through all the brothers, and he said no. And then he said, oh well, but who else is there? He said, oh, there's you know, I think he went to the father, and he's like, oh well, there's one more. I got one more kid, you know, but he's a sheep. He tends to the sheep. He's the youngest. And then he brought him forth, and he's like, that's who you're gonna anoint, man. You gotta anoint him with the oil, and he's the king of Israel. You know. And that's another example, man. You're not supposed to judge someone on how they look, you know, skin color, height, boldness, you know, speech impairment, hearing impairment, whatever, man. Brothers come in all kinds of different forms and shapes and conditions, man. You know what I mean? You're gonna turn down a guy that's deaf over a guy that can hear. But you know what? That guy that can hear, he can bring down your whole camp, man. You're not supposed to turn down anyone. Anyone that Yahweh Shem Yahushai has called, you're not supposed to turn down, man. You know, because that's who Yahweh Shem Yahushai called. He called them. You didn't call him. You're just the one. You know, our job, man. You know, we're just pawns, man. We're just vessels. We're nothing big. You know, out there. Whoever comes to the camp, you're not supposed to dismay him. Oh, look at this guy. He's not gonna make it. You know, and at certain times, if the Most High gives you that spirit where you can discern, yeah, that guy's not gonna make it, that's a different story. Like if the dude's proud, or you know, he like the brother in the camp of Howard, he brings out people that come up on that sly spirit. Like they'll ask you a question, but they already have the answer, kind of, and then they're smirking and they're watching you kind of squirm or trying to find the answer. Those people are bugged out. You know, they're just demon. But I'm talking about a guy that, you know, that comes up and you might think he's a heathen or he looks a certain way, you know, or he comes a certain way or from a certain angle or perception, and you gotta school him on the truth, and then he gets it. Then that's the Most High. The Most High brought him forth. The Most High called them. He's the one that called. You're the one that collect. You know, we're the fishermen. You know, we're just fishing. The Most High really gives us the brothers and who He has called, you know, who He has predestinated. Verse 7, blame not before thou hast examined the truth, understand first, and then rebuke. And that's for going for polite, man. You don't understand shit. You don't understand that back in the ancient world, people judged upon race, upon tribe, upon land, who their father was mainly. You know, they didn't judge, oh, this guy's certain this color, so he's that. You know, that's not how people judge back then. You're following Johann F. Blumenbach, a fucking German anthropologist who divided the mankind, as you will call it, into 5 categories. I believe 4, because he was actually he actually had a mentor. You know, he had a predecessor, Karl. I forget the last name. It's a long German name, but Johann F. Blumenbach was the real guy that pushed it. You know, and it was actually written that was for the detriment of later generations, meaning detriment like a stumbling block again. It was like it was a falsehood to later people. Which people today, what did they do? Oh yeah, he's white. You're not dark, you're white. You know, and they have no idea how really the seed works. It's about the seed of the father. Your father carries the sperm, the seed. You know, he plants it in the woman. The woman bears it. She nourishes it with the food. You know, but that seed is your father. It's from your father, and that is you. You know, the seed meets the egg. You know, the woman carries a big burden. No one's taking that from her, but the seed is the father. That spirit is in the seed, all right, which comes from the father, which is the genes. All right, if you can make it as plain as crystal to someone, if the Most High didn't open up their mind, they're not getting it. So that's polite. You didn't understand. You blamed before you examined. You did not understand, and you rebuked. Just because out of number one, being emotional, you're a little emotional bitch, polite. Same with Shaka. You guys look like you're all fucking grew up with your mother, man. You know? You guys are all fucking emotional, man. You guys talk emotional. You go on emotional rants. You know, polite will shoot up the Bible one day, then say, you know, the next day, oh, sometimes you see me get up in a fist. You know, you get me, you know, you guys get me riled up, but I do stay, you know, calm and bring out information. The next day, he's calling forth the Crips and Bloods of the nation to kill the Israelites, going on a fucking emotional rant. You're a fucking little bitch, man. You look like a kid that's lost in the candy shop, man. You know, you look like a kid that's lost in Toys R Us, man. Going to ball. The white man's looking at you like a fucking clown, man. Alright? So now, that was the scripture. We're gonna go into this book called Africans and Native Americans, the Language of Race and the Evolution of Red Black People, Jack D. Forbes. The title again is misleading and it's misinformative and basically it's a lie because there's no such thing as black people. And the Native Americans whom they refer to here as red, they're not red. They are brown. They are copper. Alright? So that's a lie, which people commonly accept. So let's go to page 93. Page 93. We're going to skip around. So it says here, the classification of human beings according to their skin color and other physical characteristics is a very important subject, but one which has yielded a great deal of confusion and controversy, which it has. A great deal of confusion and controversy. Page 95. This is a couple excerpts. Ludwig Wittgenstein asks, and then he goes on, whatever. But here I highlighted some things. He said, dark and blackish are not the same concepts. Okay? Darkness is not called a color. In paintings, darkness can also be depicted as black. The perception of color is a complex subject, the complexity stemming both from fundamental physical and perceptual issues, and from social, cultural, training, or conditioning. Meaning, what does that mean? So here it says the complexity stemming both from fundamental physical and perceptual issues, meaning how someone perceives it. Really, how that is viewed, or how it's taught is, as it says here, from social, cultural, training, or conditioning. Meaning, you can have a child that's 7 years old. He sees someone as a black person all his life. What has he been taught? That's a black person. What has he heard? That's a black person. He's black, he's white, he's yellow, he's red, etc. That's social conditioning. Natural perception really is someone, hypothetically, which, you know, that shit wouldn't exist really, because it's someone that hasn't been affected by social conditioning or cultural training or conditioning. You know, you're taught something from very young. You're in preschool, you're learning this is black, this is white, that person's, or if you know, let's say you're not even taught it, you hear it. Oh, that black guy, you know, that white guy, that brown guy. You know, you hear it. All right? What you teach your children is very important. You know? And that's how everyone's brought up. And how this lie came about again was from a German anthropologist. He conditioned you bozos, you idiots out there, to believe this lie. As Joseph Albers said, in visual perception, color is almost never seen as it really is. It says, as it physically is. In order to use color effectively, it is necessary to recognize that color deceives continually. It should be learned that one and the same color evokes innumerable readings. One says red and there are 50 people listening. It can be expected that there will be 50 reds in their minds, and one can be sure that all these reds will be very different. It says everyday language seems to deal with color in a very imprecise and often symbolic manner. White is, of course, a good example, since probably few, if any, human beings are white. That is, white is a blank color with, one could say, no color at all, which is like this page. The color of this page. I don't seen anyone that's this color. You know, the color of the page, right? Same thing with black. I haven't seen anyone that's this dark as the table. You know, it's retarded, man. It says down here, it says, but the fact remains that people called white are perhaps never white. They may be pinkish, light grayish, creamy, very light brown, ruddy or reddish, or ruddy reddish, which is what white people are. So-called white people, they're red, which is what the word Edom means. All right, Edom is Adawam, which means red in Hebrew. You know, Esau in Hebrew is Ashashel, mean wasted away. What is wasted away from the white man? His pigmentation, his melanin, whatever you want to call it. All right. And hence he is red. Why is he red? Because his blood shows forth through his skin. Alright? It says, and so, or non-specific. Sorry, and so on, but not truly white. Thus white as applied to humans is usually symbolic or non-specific. Black can also be seen as a symbolic or non-specific color, since few, if any, humans are actually black. And it's true. Oh, I'm a black man. You're not black, man. Shut the hell up, man. You know? You're not black. You're just a bugged out nigga, man. Talking shit. So, the fact remains that, listen, it said it's a symbolic term. Meaning that what? What is white? When you look up white in the dictionary, what does it say? Oh, like righteousness, clarity, right? Truth. Other synonyms. And what does it say for black? Negativity, wickedness, unrighteousness, darkness, blindness. Right? That's why the white man called the so-called black man black. Or put that term on it. Right? It says page 99. It says, a problem arises, however, when North American and British whites want to call Native Americans. While Latin Americans often see Americans as copper-colored, bronze-colored, or even Indio-colored, also Native Americans are perceived as being red, while Mexicans, in brackets Chicanos, are not perceived as being red by white North Americans. The latter are more often called brown, and that's true. You gotta look at that. Why are Mexicans, Chicanos, Central Americans, South Americans, they're called brown? You know, oh, you're brown. Well, Native Americans are called red. It's all bullshit, man. It's all the white man's MO, modus operandi, method of operation, mode of operation. It's all his tricks, man. It's all his deceiving bullshit. You know, he literally spews shit. I don't know from where, man. You know, from Satan. You know, because you are the children of Satan. I'm talking about you so-called white people. You know, you guys literally just come up with the most bullshit. And that's a great analogy. Why do you look at Mexicans as brown and then Native Americans as red when they're the same complexion, man? When you look at certain pictures, man, you know, Apache and Mexican, they look the same, man. Aztecs, the Mayas, you know, the Comanche, Arapaho, Lakota, all these, they all have the same complexion, man. They all have the same color. So it's retarded to say that one is red and the other is brown. You know, you're just divide. It's what divide and conquer means. That is an exact example of what divide and conquer is, man. You know. So that's what the white man pushes, which is bullshit. So this is Psalms 10 and 7, right? And it says, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. That's the white man. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. Mischief. To say that the North American Indians are red, the Latinos are brown, how are they not the same? That's mischief. That's what we call mischievous person, a fraud. You know, that's what that, you know, that all that bullshit is, man. You know? So from 99, let's go to page 101 from the same book. This is under the subtitle, The Classification of Peoples and the Rise of Racialism. It says, consequently, we must always keep in mind that the terms for brownish peoples to be discussed below arose in a climate of non-racialism. Page 102, it says indifference to races in brackets, and a period in which emphasis was placed upon appearance as opposed to racial genealogy, which is what true nationality or race comes from. You know, and that's what people today. You ask an Edomite or so-called white man, so you can understand what's your nationality. I'm Canadian. It's like, really? How are you Canadian? You stole this land. Your ancestors came here. You know, where do you go back to? Where's your father's lineage from? Is there a man called Canada in your near genealogic ancestry? Because everyone came from one or from a father. You know, you had Noah. He had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, which they had sons which became nations. Like, for example, Ham is the father of the so-called African. He had many sons which became other nations. For example, Mizraim was one of them. He's the progenitor of who? The Egyptians. You have Cush. He's a progenitor of who? The Ethiopians. So you can say, oh, ask Ethiopian, what's your nationality? Oh, I'm Canadian, but my father's Ethiopian. What are you talking about, man? Okay, you may hold a Canadian citizenship. You may pay taxes, but you're not Canadian. You live in Canada. Don't mix up your nationality with where you live. You know, where your citizenship is. Nationality lies with your genealogy, your racial genealogy. Alright, it says, problems arise when people of black color are put in a category labeled the Negro race, or when people of laurel color are called mulattoes. Before analyzing in detail the terms laurel and pardo, it says it is necessary to say a few words about how people seem to have been classified and or categorized in the 12 to 1400s in the Mediterranean region. Slaves seem to have been classified according to their ethnic or national names. For example, Russians, Turks, Greeks, Tartars, Circassians. All right, that's how people were classified as. Okay, this is from page 103 below here. It says, this process of classification, which became in fact genealogical or racial, seems to have resulted from a rationalistic scientific desire to bring a sense of order and logic into what appears to this author to have been an ad hoc, all right, an ad hoc disorderly world of subjective descriptions of color and other phenotypical characteristics. To some extent, of course, Spanish and Portuguese authorities desired a degree of terminological order, since colonial statutory law sometimes differentiated between persons who were European or white, mixed, and Native American. In 1735, Carl Linnaeus, which is the predecessor of Johann F. Blumenbach that I was talking about, the first edition of a system of nature. Living creatures were thereby logically arranged by genus, species, and variety. Human beings were divided into two species, Homo sapien and Homo monstrous. Within Homo sapiens were placed wild men, Americans, copper-colored Europeans, fair, Asians, sooty, and Africans, black. Homo monstrous included Patagonians and flat-headed Canadians, both American groups, as well as Hottentots and Chinese. Alright, page 104. It says Linnaeus was followed by other writers who attempted to organize the human beings in various classification systems. Quite naturally, one aspect of this effort was to logically arrange the various kinds of physical types resulting from miscegenation into equally logical systems. A plethora of lists of racial terms resulted, being especially common in the 19th century for the Caribbean colonies, Dutch, English, French, and for the Spanish colonies somewhat earlier. Page 105. It says the idea that the mixture of white and American produces a mestizo, a common assertion of Spanish charts, is in fact a false assertion, since some such persons will be totally American in appearance and will be called and treated as an Indian, while some others will appear fair or light and will be treated as either a blanco or somewhat of near white, which is true. Some can come out a mestizo, which is mixed. In Canada here, you have the term métis. Some can come out looking white. Some can come out looking more native. You know, it's it's the Most High. He's the one that